Welcome to the High-Tech Investments News Report for Week 25. The news report covers some of the many investments projects High-Tech Investments is currently involved in so you can follow our progress. We hope you will enjoy this news feed and look forward to your comments and remarks.
Hi, Bo here, and welcome back to this week's news report, where once again it is time to have a look back what has happened in the past week on our platforms, on our trading EAs. Last week here, for some EAs, that actually showed a bit of a slowdown. Other ones are still very much shining. We're going to show you all the results and then you can see for yourself. We also have 16 accounts that has been terminated. Exactly why and which ones they are, well, we're going to go through the video also to explain you exactly why and how we're actually going to rectify it going forward. Then we have a new video also released last week, and this particular one I believe a lot of people would actually like to see, because this particular EA is doing extremely well. How well? Well, you're going to have to watch the video all the way to the end to see which one that is. But of course, we're going to show you exactly the precise results of the individual ones and how well it's been doing up until now. Not to mention also our copy link service, that is also doing extremely well. And we're going to show you with the usual criteria in here, which ones you can actually link up to today to start making a bit of money, to maybe also put in a long-term plan. So let's get into it. Let's see how last week actually turned out. So when it comes to Yieldnodes, pretty much nothing, no new information has come out. We're going to go straight to the website in here, click on the order coin reserves that we have, and then we'll see here again for week 24, week 25, we can see the Yieldnodes setup they have in here with the individual coins and the master nodes running. And it looks like if we go straight down to PNY here, we have an additional 2 from 290 to 292. And we can see that SAPP, we actually don't have any new ones in here, so that's a bit of a surprise. We can see SUV here is 276, so there's another one in here. And we can also see 777, so there's an additional ones. It looks like SAPP is one of the few ones that hasn't. There's also a monk in here, so that is also the same. So some of them haven't really moved from the past week. Other ones have, but at the end of the day, we are looking into the SAPP value, and the SAPP value is pretty much dead here at the moment. So this is where we left it last week with the red circle, and has jumped up slightly, but it doesn't really change anything on the price. You'll notice also there is a buy on the 16th, and again here on the 21st. That's pretty much it. Nothing else is moving at the moment. There's a lot of things moving on the SAPP staking, as you'll see here for the month of June. It has been absolutely crazy. So we have made more than 400,000 SAPP, which is obviously quite nice. In the last week here alone, we made 108,711 SAPP. That's about 25.7% from the past week, but the weeks before was even better in here. But as long as the value is this low, it doesn't really matter too much. Same for the PNY. That has also slowed a bit, so but still we managed 4,921 PNY. So that is 3.5%. Also here, it's actually a big drop from the past weeks in here that showed an incredible spike. Very nice to have, of course, but the value needs to be there. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter too much. But Bitcoin is also down from the top value in here. So in the prior weeks, we saw it went up to 110. So that is pretty much the max for Bitcoin. Last time when we were in here, it was over 107,000. You can see it topped up about just before 109. And since then, it has actually been dropping the entire week. Just in the last 12 hours or so, we have seen a bit of a spike again in here. Most probably some reactions after the weekend, again for the Iran bombings in here. So we'll have to see if that is a new trend going the opposite way again. But it did drop below the $100,000 mark, at least for about half a day or so. When it comes to the Wave Liberator, well, still going strong. As you can see in here, Euro Swiss francs is actually topping out at $59 or 5.9%. So that is really good just for that particular week. We also have the Euro USD at $34, 3.4%, and then Aussie USD, $33, 3.3%, with the Euro CAD $31, 3.1%, and New Zealand Japanese, $26, 2.6%. And overall, this particular portfolio in here, which has quite a heavy side on the European currency this particular week, $182, 3.6%. But definitely this is nice and above average, what you could expect from the Wave Liberator. We can see that the floating profit and loss for this particular one here is still very nice and low, still running quite well with the monthly returns of 11% or 3% on the weekly charts on $1,000 accounts. It is very smooth sailing on the graph itself, and we have a long history now of 671 days with almost 13 trades per day. And we have taken more than 64,000 pips in here. So looking very good. And also on the coupling service, we have most of these particular signals here on our website. So you can go and have a closer look at it. And in there, you'll also find that the entire portfolio was not as good as last week, but $363 is actually what we made compared to 423. But then look at the prior weeks, 382, 288, 358. So we are in the same range and simply just very smooth cashing in all the way through, both ups and downs in here. And that's what we really like about the Wave Liberator. The RSI, well, that has taken a bit of a dip again. So sometimes it actually shines, other times it doesn't. This is overbought, oversold. That's the indicator for when this goes in. And obviously with the fluctuations of the market here being what they are at the moment, that's the reason why. Euro Swiss francs is on top here with $26, 2.6%. And again, that would be about 10% per month. So it's not a complete disaster, not at all. Great British Pounds CAD, $22, 2.2%. And New Zealand Japanese, $20, 2%. And then US Swiss francs, $16, 1.6%, and the same goes for EuroCAD, $16, 1.6%. Overall, this particular portfolio here would have made only $99 or 2%. So it is well below what we are normally seeing from this particular EA. But I did warn you that some of the EAs, they weren't doing so well this week. Floating profit of loss also for this particular one here is also correcting. So that is good news. Monthly return around 9% on the $1,000 accounts, 2% on the weekly. Trade win still high with 66%, and more than 30,000 pips has been taken now in the past 440 days. So very strong EA, and that's also why you'll find most of the copy link service for all the currency pairs in here on the website. Again, all of them are set up on $1,000 accounts, and the entire portfolio, as you can see, that has actually dropped $181 compared to $321 last week. We should normally be in the range of around 300. So obviously disappointing, but we know that this one here will come back with a vengeance. Same thing also goes for the Hedge EA. That hasn't done so well here either at the moment. Euro Swiss francs only comes in at $34, 3.4%, which is obviously nice. Aussie USD, $22, 2.2%, with the Euro CAD, $12, 1.2%, and then CAD Swiss francs all the way down to $10, 1%, and the Euro USD also $10, 1%. Overall, this particular portfolio here is also low with $88 or 1.8%. So not the best from the Hedge EA either in here. And again, you can see it made a lot of profit back in April. Since then, it has actually smoothed out a bit again. It hasn't recovered full, but we still have a monthly return overall since we started of about 13%, and then 3% on a weekly pass. Trade wins are high with the 70% mark in here, so that is actually good. Even floating profit of loss should be down slightly, so from last week, also good news. And we have a history of 154 days in here, and with the trades per day of around 16. That still makes it a good one here, but we didn't have too many on the coupling service still, because we had some adjustments and changes we wanted to make. And you can also see the reason for that is, again, we only made $110 in here. So we had some high drawdowns, but compared to prior weeks, it is very, very low. We have to go back to around early April to see anything lower. So hopefully we will be picking this particular one up again here very, very soon with some better numbers. Speaking about better numbers, This is the new simple grid trading EA, and you can see it is really cashing in quite nicely. It's quite astonishing. Some of these results here mostly are now generation 4 instead of generation 3. So for the week itself, the Euro USD made $103 or 10.3%. That's normally what you would expect for any EA to produce, maybe if it is good, for an entire month. Swiss francs Japanese did almost the same, $93, 9.3%, with Euro CAD at $70, 7%. And then Great British Pounds CAD, $68, 6.8%, with Euro New Zealand at $60 and 6%. So this particular portfolio in here has obviously a few euros, it has a few CADs in here, but still it is actually making $393 or 7.9%, which most people will be very happy with on an entire month. Here we actually did it in just 1 week. We also have all of them on our website in here, none of them on the coupling service. It is simply too new yet. We have put this forward to Alex from Expert Forex. We haven't seen anything being approved yet, so we are trying to give this a push again here soon, so you can actually start enjoying these accounts. So because they are doing extremely well, as you can see, we have 20 accounts. The balance is already up to 24,000. We have a floating profit of loss of 2,400, but the closed profit has already surpassed that with 4,148. So it is really looking good. Total returns is over 10%. Monthly returns at the moment is calculated at 9.7. That one has been going up in the past weeks as we have now made some changes to going from generation 3 to generation 4. So that has certainly increased. Trade wins are extremely high here, almost 78%. Pips, we've already taken 19,000 in just 67 days. Trades per day, around 16. So that is actually also quite good. But when we have a look at the entire portfolio last week, we also saw a drop in this particular one here to 251 compared to 596 the past week. But overall, you can see 300 or 400. That's most probably where this EA is looking at the moment. So we are just slightly down on what is the average for this particular one. Now, all of the EAs I talked to so far is all the grid sizing, and that brings me back to the videos that you have here on the screen. So these are the first videos where we are actually explaining the grid trading itself, so the gaps that you need to have in here, and the lot sizing, also the hacks, to make sure that you're getting exactly numbers as you see here today. We have the ring the Forex bell for big wins in here, how we set this up. This is a very good graphical image of what you can actually do on all the other EAs. And then we have the latest one also where you are profiting both ways. So this is the Hedge EA video that we released also just a few weeks ago. The latest one is our simple grid trading secret, and that is actually the simple grid trader that we are showing you exactly what needs to be done, because most of the settings, and there's not actually many in here. There is a new version of the generation 4 now coming out, and there's basically just one extra setting in here showing you also a dollar amount that you can close down, either the buy or the sell, and not just the entire basket. We will have a closer look at this particular change that we have in here and make a future video of it. But this particular one is a simple grid trader. We are showing you exactly what you need to trade and what you don't need to trade in here. So as you can see, this might be one of the best EAs we ever basically have tested, and also making money on here, and certainly it is making a lot of money at the moment. Normally we also have the lucky trader. That one is also making very good money, and this particular week here it is more on the average side. Again, here we see Euro Swiss francs for a lot of the EAs. That did quite well this week with $45, 4.5%. And then Great British Pounds CAD, $34, 3.4%, with New Zealand USD down to $25, 2.5%. And then Aussie USD, $14, 1.4%. And then EuroCAD, $13, 1.3% overall. The lucky trader portfolio this particular week in here, Again, you have a lot of euro, so there's a few in here. You also have a few US dollars to complement it, and that made $131, 2.6%. And when we look at the graph, it still looks quite okay. It did hit a bit of a drawdown. So again, after a history of 232 days, we have a monthly returns of approximately 12% on $1,000 accounts, 3% on the weekly, and the trade wins are still high at around 69%. And also here we have taken quite a few pips, 27,700, so it's doing well. And that's also why you can find it on the coupling service. A lot of these are in here and they are actually cashing in every single week. But also the lucky trader has been down on the entire portfolio. 175 was only made compared to 328 the week before. So we are well below. Not as low as what we saw in the end of April, where we only made 81, but certainly it needs to catch up a bit if it has to basically help out on the simple grid trader here overall. Now, when you look at the bell trader, that also seems to be doing quite well for week 25 in here. The top 5 EAs, actually Euro Swiss francs, again here $42, 4.2%. So looks like that was the one to go with in the past week. Great British Pounds CAD, $38, 3.8%. And then Aussie New Zealand, $16, 1.6%, with New Zealand Swiss francs down at $14, 1.4%. And New Zealand CAD, $12, 1.2%. Overall, this portfolio doesn't look too bad on the bell trader with $122 or 3% overall for that particular portfolio in here. But still, it should be doing a lot better. You can see the monthly returns still calculated at around 7%. Weekly returns around 2%. Trade wins are high with almost 70%, and we have taken more than 17,000 pips. Trades per day is low. That's definitely one of the issues with this EA. And we can also see that floating profit of loss here recently has really skyrocketed. In here, you can see the close profit is not even close to the floating profit of loss. So we still have to make some adjustments after about 200 days. I did mention a few weeks ago that we wanted to make further adjustments. So this brings me over to the news here also for the bell trader, that basically we are canceling the bell trader just for a bit. So we don't really like the results that are coming out. We don't feel that we have enough control over these particular ones here. We made some adjustments as it is already from 200 now up to 600 days. And it doesn't look like it's still doing quite well. We want to try and analyze this a bit more. It's going to come back for sure on our website again. We have already notified that some of the accounts is being shut down in here. And then when it's going to be restarted, it will be on $1,000 accounts here instead. Hopefully, we'll do another attempt of trying to get this to work a bit better. Also, try to limit the drawdowns that are in here. So because definitely they are a bit too high. Some of them actually left over from the prior, so when we had it on 200 days. But again, the new setup, it should work definitely better, but time will tell. We're going to take a little break here over the summer vacation, and then we're basically going to add them in again, and hopefully for also better results in the future. Until then, you can see that it wasn't even the worst week that we had, 128. You can see prior weeks, they are also extremely low. So it is making money, but definitely it is not working optimum as we would like to have it. So we're going to try and give it another go here again a bit later on. Until that happens, you still have plenty of accounts in here as usual. So this is for the coupling service. We are trying to manage it by only showing floating profit of loss of less than 300. And you can see they are actually quite low. Then we also have the other criteria of return on total drawdown. So we want 200 or more. So they are quite good. There's one 265. It's still making about 8%. So that is good. Some of them are a lot better. And also we don't want to have too many negative weeks in here. So everything is good. Highest one is minus 154. We can certainly live with that when it's actually producing 49% of results. You can see the numbers are looking quite good in here. All of them are small numbers when it comes to drawdown and nice big percentages when it comes to the gains at the end of the week. So there you have it, another week and another profit for the week. It has been a quite good week, despite some of the slowdowns on some EAs. Other ones are still doing quite well, as you can see. And then we have the few ones that are also shining. You have to have a very good mix of everything to make sure that you will survive all the ups and downs of the Forex market. We believe that we have a very good mix, but obviously we will continue to monitor and also do further videos on this, on how to set up portfolios in the future, trying to make sure that you are as well covered as possible. But there is also the risk, as always, in here, especially the way the world is actually working here at the moment. You will have big fluctuations from time to time, and you have to basically consider that within your risk strategy. Also set up your portfolio the right way. We will show you that in future videos, and you know that you can always come by every single week here to see the latest results from all the EAs, which ones are the best ones in here, so you can build your own set of portfolios over all the different EAs that we have shown you here today. So please give us a thumbs up and a like, and maybe also a comment if you believe that there's something else that we should be covering in this particular news report going forward. Until then, I see you hopefully on one of my next videos. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed our news report. So please don't forget to like and add your comment below, as we would love to get your feedback. But before you go, make sure you subscribe to the channel and don't forget to keep the notification bell turned on. That way, you will never miss any of our future videos. We hope to see you back on this channel very soon.